Zach here with Truck Fab Resource to talk about our TrashCat 47 roll-off hoist. This model is the TrashCat 47-01 hydraulic that's behind me, and it's designed to fit trucks with a 120-inch cab to axle and a frame height of 30 up to 36 inches from ground to top of frame. The current production trucks that this fits are the Ram 5500, the Chevy 55 and 6500, and the most popular hoist truck for this is the Ford F550 and F600. So let's talk about the hoist itself, and then we'll delve into some of the upgrade options included on this model. Our TrashCat 47 family is designed to fit Texas Pride and U-Dump style dumpsters with a 47-inch outside rail width. This hoist will hold 12 and 14-foot long dumpsters and has a lift capacity of 16,000 pounds with a 12-foot dumpster. Taking a look at controls on this model is we start off at the back of the cab. We have all of our hardwired controls. The control valve is solenoid operated, so these are electric valves that then in turn allow us to have an upgrade option of a wireless remote. We use an industrial grade wireless remote with proper labels for all the functions. All the electronics for the controls are housed inside of a metal enclosure with diagnostic LEDs for all the functions for easy maintenance and troubleshooting through the life of the equipment. This particular model uses a scissor hoist to lift the tilt frame. Now, scissor hoists can take a bad rap in the dump truck and heavy equipment industry, but typically that bad reputation comes from a couple different factors, sometimes individually, sometimes in combination with each other. Sometimes that can be a poor quality hoist, poor installation, or improper sizing. So with this model, we use a Champion Model 620. It's a high quality hoist. The main frame of the hoist is made from a grade 100 steel. It's more money, it's more expensive, but it is a higher quality hoist, one of the best on the market. Looking at installation, a common issue with scissor hoists is that oftentimes the tail of the hoist, which is located at the front here, will raise up above the plane of the rails and either stop the dumpster from moving, or you end up shaving a section of the hoist off. Either sometimes the top of the cylinder will rub, whatever the highest point is, and that'll wear away over time. That's not an issue with the way we have this mounted and designed and engineered. The complete body of the scissor lays below the tilt frame at all times. That's a pretty big deal. Another thing is improper sizing. So we have to, we can't just take a 10-ton hoist and put it in here and say it has a 10-ton rating. No, we've upsized the hoist to I think this has an 11 or 12-ton rating under certain conditions from the manufacturer to get, in our installation, an 8-ton real-world rating with a 12-foot box. So the truck that this is going to go on, say an F600, a Ford F600, realistically is going to have probably a 4, maybe 4.5 ton usable payload. And so with an 8-ton lift capacity, this is going to be more than enough for any load that you're going to haul on that truck. As you can see in this clip, when supplied with the right flow and pressure, the tilt frame moves up at a comfortable yet fast pace. And then finally, as we're looking at the features that come standard on this hoist, we have a Warn 15K hydraulic winch. Now, the 15K hydraulic is a much stronger winch than the 15,000 pound electric that a lot of guys are familiar with from the Texas Pride and U-Dump electric trailers. It just pulls much stronger, much longer, has a higher duty cycle. We've got some separate content on our channel and on our Facebook page about those differences, but suffice it to say, it is more than strong enough to pull any load that you're going to be hauling on this type of truck. Of course, with that, we use a 1/2-inch domestic oil impregnated cable for the strongest, longest service life possible out of that cable. The tilt frame main rails are constructed of 6x2 by 1/4-inch wall box tube with 1/4-inch wall gussets, supports, and cross members throughout, and the subframe is a 4x3 by 3/16 construction. Of course, in the top of the rail, similar to most other trailers on the market, we have a greasable rail roller recessed into that rail with a grease zerk for a nice easy glide of that container on and off of the tilt frame. Taking a look at hydraulic hoses, something that we spend just a little bit more money on to make service and maintenance easy is anywhere that a hose pivots, say right here at the hinge, or where the hoses go in to the scissor hydraulic cylinder. These hoses are a separate hose. So these are going to be the hoses that wear out first because they're getting the most flex. And so we've made that a separate hose section. So you only replace that hose that has worn from flex over the years and not the whole system. The hydraulic hose we use on this hoist is an SAE 100R16. One of the metrics that hydraulic hose quality is measured by is pulse cycles. How many times can this receive a pulse on, pulse off? And this is rated to a 1 million pulse cycle rating and is also rated for a higher flexibility. I think the standard is 2 or 250,000 pulse cycles. We're 1 million on this. So again, we spend a little bit more money for a longer, higher quality service life through the duration of the equipment life. We have a safety chain located here at the railhead, similar to most trailers on the market. We've got a safety hook that is a grade 70 chain bolted in place. We've got a place to store that, and then this hooks on the dumpster as a backup to the winch once the dumpster is loaded. And of course, we have our safety prop here, which will raise the hoist up, turn the truck and PTO off, and then use our controls to gently lower that into place. And now we can service the hoist where needed. We'll catch all the grease points on the hoist itself, as well as the hinges back near the back of the tilt frame. Here at the front of the hoist, we have some hydraulic control devices in place. So of course we have our solenoid operated directional control valve, and that is either full open or full closed when we're pressing a button on the wireless remote or using one of the buttons, one of the toggle switches behind the cab. And so with that, we need a way to meter that flow where necessary. So up at the front, we have our needle valve, which controls the speed of the tarp mast going up and down. We have a lot of flow from the PTO pump going into a small cylinder, so we need to meter that mast speed. And then we also have a flow control valve here to our lift cylinder that allows full flow in the up direction, but then meters the flow coming back down. This is especially necessary with really heavy loads that might cause that to come down extra fast. These two valves are something that will be set by the user probably in the first week or so of operation, and then rarely touched again. Here at the rear of the hoist, where our subframe ties into the tilt frame, we've got 4 hinges, each with a greasable, replaceable pivot. All those are welded to the back tube of the subframe and then supported on the bottom, and then all that's tied together by a 3/8 plate on each side that then will get drilled and bolted to the truck frame of the host truck. So all this ties together for a really robust hinge design. This hoist has a very generous dump angle. On the shortest truck that it's designed to fit, which is a 30-inch tall truck, we get a 46-degree dump angle, and that only goes up as that truck height goes up. So at a 36-inch truck height, we have a 56-degree dump angle. And at any of those heights, we have a very generous clearance between the ground and the DOT bumper here at the back. A common question we get is, hey, do you have any clearance there, being that the bumper doesn't pivot? And it's a solid yes. So here at this dump angle, currently our sawhorses are 37 inches off the ground, so a little bit taller than we would typically see on a truck. But with that, we have a 11.5-inch clearance. So say we're sitting on a little bit shorter truck, we'd still be in that 8 or 9-inch range as far as clearance between the ground and the bumper itself. So plenty to clear any debris or trash at the landfill. A common question we get is how much overhang is there behind the back of the box? So let's take a look at that now. So a 12-foot dumpster, outside dimensions are typically about 12 feet 6 inches. So the back of the doors are going to land right here, just behind the rear indexing spear. So we have about 3 feet behind that. And then a 14-foot box is going to be about 14.6, and so that lands right here about in line with our winch hook holder there, and so that leaves about a foot, maybe 10 inches between the back doors and the roller for easy access to get those doors open and closed with the dumpster loaded. As far as installation requirements go, it's really quite simple. We ship, along with the hoist, a set of shear plates that get welded to the subframe and then bolted to the truck frame. That also comes with the bolts and the spacers for whatever frame rail width the truck may have. And then for wiring and hookup, we require a hydraulic supply from a PTO system on the truck. And so we run a pressure line into the bottom of the valve and then a return line to the tank. And then for electric, we need a 10 amp circuit into the control panel. power and ground, and then if the tarp system prep kit is on there, we'll need a 6-gauge cable supplied into that as well. And then on the back, we've got all our taillights tied into a common junction box behind that taillight plate, and so that just gets the truck taillight circuit tied in at that junction box. Not only is the Champion scissor hoist one of the strongest, highest quality on the market, it also makes for a very low profile mount. So as I mentioned, the hoist body does not come up above the top plane of the tilt frame there, but also on the bottom side, we have a very minimal clearance requirement. So especially as we're looking at mounting this on a variety of truck models with fuel tank locations, maybe DEF tanks, cross members, carrier bearings for drive shafts, etc. We need a little bit of clearance in the front for the tail of the hoist, and then a little bit of clearance towards the rear of the hoist where the hydraulic lines go through and fittings go into the cylinder, but that clearance requirement really is minimal. Taking a look now at some of the upgrade features on this hoist, we already mentioned the 8-button remote, which is a popular upgrade. The other option we have is rear ratchet tie downs. So this truck is set up with the rear indexing spear to fit the 12-foot Texas Pride and UW style containers that have that locking lug here. But then if you're going to haul a longer container, say a 14-foot, we need something to hold that container down. So we have a tie down winch mounted on each side here. We're going to release the handle on that, pull that out. With that, we have a hook designed to fit the 3-inch long sill on the bottom of the dumpsters. So we'll hook that over the long sill, and then we have an integrated ratchet handle. That way you don't have to get out separate tie down bars. Take that down, and then we can flip the lever, and that stows up out of the way when we're not in use. On the back of the hoist here, the hoist comes as part of our basic package, included with a basic DOT bumper that meets the DOT requirements as far as height and spacing from the rear. And then we just put a basic set of taillights in that as an upgrade option. As we have here, we have LED marker lights in the end of the bumper on each side, as well as a complete panel here for a protected license plate mount that's lit, as well as LED reverse lights and stop tail turn lights. Taking a look at one of the other upgrade options available is our adjustable tarp mast gantry. So this is one of our in-house designs. We produced this. And it's got some features that we couldn't find anywhere else on the market in any of the other hoists, so we made our own. First of all, let's talk about the height. Most adjustable masts are set up to accommodate really tall boxes. A lot of our customers are hauling shorter boxes, sometimes 4 feet, sometimes even less, but 4 foot is often the minimum that we see. So this is set up so that when used in conjunction with most of the aluminum spring arm systems on the market, the tarp axle will be 51 inches above the top plane of the tilt frame here, which is going to be good for 4-foot boxes. And then that extends up 24 inches to a little over 6 feet tall as well. That both gets a good seal on the dumpster, whether regardless of what height the dumpster is, as well as keeps the tarp from dragging across nails and 2x4s and stuff sticking up out of the front of the dumpster. Looking at some of the technical features of the hoist, we route the cable through a cableway here that's flexible and keeps that secure so it's not flopping around. We have the upright oriented in a position so that the female portion is facing down. A lot of the masts on the market have the female tube facing up, which allows for rust and crud and junk to accumulate in the tube. Along with that, we have a greaseless design. We use polyethylene wear pads in between those two tubes, so you're not having to add grease to that and add mess behind the cab of your truck, and that's going to create for a long service life. Another option to take that one step further is we have what we call our tarp prep package, which is simply the wire, 6-gauge parallel wire routed from the cab, back of cab controls tied into the control board there. We have a Cole Hersey motor reversing relay, as well as a 60 amp manual reset high quality breaker inside the housing. Here at Truck Fab Resource, we're on a mission to help the hometown dumpster operator grow their business. So if that's you, you're ready to take the step out of a truck and trailer into a dedicated truck rig, give us a call and we'll connect you with a dealer in your area to get one of our hoists mounted to the truck of your choice and grow your business.